In this video, we're going to be talking about the Theseus story and how it relates to the Dream SMP storyline a lot more than you may think. Now before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed, and if you're not following me over on Twitch, please do so. Anyway, enjoy the video. Now Theseus' name gets thrown around quite a lot in the Dream SMP storyline, and the main person who says his name and explains his story is Technoblade. Now this does actually make a lot of sense, seeing as Technoblade is basically writing his part of the story, and if we go to check out the scenes where he's actually mentioned Theseus, it does make sense to what is happening in the story right now, and how from knowing this we could possibly predict what's happening next in the story. It's basically one big foreshadow, and I think it's just a super cool thing. So we're going to start off by looking at when he spawned in the Withers after Wilbur had blown up L'Manberg. And this is where he basically explains the story of Theseus.
Let me tell you a story, Tommy. Story of a man called Theseus. His country, well, his city-state technically, was in danger, and he sent himself forward into enemy lines. He slayed the Minotaur and saved his city. You know what they did to him, Tommy? They exiled him. He died in disgrace, despised by his people. That's what happens to heroes, Tom.
Now from watching that clip alone, you may hear and recognize some things that have happened in the storyline for the Dream SMP, but let's take a look at it a little bit deeper. At the start, Technoblade says that Theseus' country or city-state was endangered, and at this time, L'Manberg could be classified as endangered due to J-Schlatt being the leader. Technoblade then goes on to say that Theseus sent himself over onto enemy lines and slayed the Minotaur. That's kind of what Tommy in Pogtopia did, and after starting the war, J-Schlatt died, so I guess J-Schlatt could be compared to the Minotaur. It then goes on to say that they saved the city, meaning that they got the power back, and that's what Tommy and everybody did. But after that, they exiled him, and Tommy got exiled after saving L'Manberg. And then Technoblade goes on to say that he dies in disgrace and despised by his own people, and that's kind of what happened as well. If you didn't know, after L'Manberg tried to execute Technoblade, Tubbo went over to visit Tommy for the first time in a while, and because everything was blown up by Dream, Tubbo kind of thought that Tommy had just died.
What the hell? Does he have a tent still? Where's this tent? What's going on here? Why is it all blown up? What did he... No. Surely not.
So technically at this point, maybe L'Manberg kind of despised him after what he did, and because he was exiled, and they just assumed that he died. Now it actually gets more interesting, because when Theseus actually defeated the Minotaur, he was told to change his sail on his boat from black to white. Black meaning that he had died, and white meaning that he succeeded. And on his way home, Theseus forgot to change the sail, and it was still on black, basically notifying all of the people that he didn't succeed. And one of the people that he notified was his dad. His dad was in the tower watching the boats come back and saw that the sail was black and basically couldn't handle living knowing that Theseus had died to the Minotaur, so he threw himself off of his own tower into the sea below him. Now if we replace the dad as Tubbo and Theseus as Tommy, then we know that Tommy is still alive, and obviously Theseus was as well, but Tubbo doesn't, and maybe Tubbo's character could do the same thing as Theseus' dad did, which would be a very dark situation. And by the way, we kind of get confirmation that Tommy is linked to Theseus, because when Technoblade shows him the room with all the Wither skulls, he literally shouts at Tommy, "Welcome home, Theseus."
Welcome home, Theseus!
Now also another thing that I had a look into was Theseus and Hercules. Apparently a lot of people online really like to compare the two, and as we know, Hercules is basically known for being super strong, similar to someone else we know in the storyline named Technoblade obviously. And from what I know, Hercules never really dies in the stories, and the only time he actually does was when he got poisoned, and because the pain was so unbearable, he had to ask the gods to kill him. So yeah, basically Hercules never dies, Technoblade never dies, kinda similar I guess. And although I couldn't really find any stories or anything about Theseus and Hercules going on adventures together, I could see Technoblade basically being Hercules and Tommy obviously being Theseus. It kinda makes sense in my head anyway. Obviously I'm not knowledgeable about all of these Greek stories, so if I get something wrong, I do apologise, but this is kind of what I've gotten from my research, and if I do get anything wrong, make sure to tell me down in the comments. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you dropped a like on it, make sure you are subscribed, and remember that the 100k limited time merch will be going and you'll never be able to get it again, so make sure you do get it before it goes.